We begin with that looming milestone for Canada-U.S. trade talks. CUSMA is due for its first ever joint review this week. July 1st is the deadline for Canada, the U.S. and Mexico to decide whether to extend or renew the deal. But Canadian negotiators say the date is not a hard deadline, deeming it more of a checkpoint than an end-all, be-all. I'm joined now by Ontario's representative in Washington, David Paterson. How you feeling, David? Is steely resolve, butterflies in your stomach? We're so close to July 1st.
Well, it's hard to believe that 6 years have gone by since we adopted this agreement, but here we are. And this was the date for the parties to sit down and do the check. And I think as we're all familiar now, it's a check-in rather than a cliff. And we're going to go into extra innings, to mix my metaphors. And that's okay. I think the key thing is that we want to make sure we get the right deal. And I think there's a lot of hard work that has been done to get us here, and so I think just like waiting for that goal in the game with South Africa, you sometimes have to wait a little longer.
I can't deny you that comparison, but I don't want to torture the analogy here about how far we are through the match. But I think Canadians would be interested to know, right? We've seen the sort of ebbs and flows of these conversations. The conversations didn't seem to be happening. Things picked back up partway through spring. What would you say roughly, David Paterson? Are we like a quarter of the way to a deal, halfway? Like, how far along is this conversation?
Well, I think you can always focus on that one pixel that is flashing a little bit. If we step back, I think there's a lot of very good things that have happened in the last little while. There's really a forged consensus here in Washington amongst people in Congress, people in the business community in particular, the think tanks, the lobbyists, et cetera. Everybody, with a very few minor exceptions, are anxious to have a deal. And in particular, there's a lot of investment that's been on the sidelines. And people are anxious to get some certainty and get back into the game. We've learned a lot from about 20 different agreements or at least, deals that have been done by the United States with countries around the world. We have some good things happening in Canada with big projects. So now it's in the hands of some very capable federal negotiators, and it's going to take longer, but it's important to get the right deal, just not any deal.
Well, so, I mean, you said it, checkpoint, not a cliff. It's something we've heard over and over again from federal officials. I feel like they're sometimes like waving big flags to Canadians saying, don't panic, don't panic. It's not all over on July 1st, but there is a virtual meeting that's happening between the three countries. How significant is that meeting likely to be? Is there anything that could come out of that would make you think, oh, this is going one way or another?
I think most people would conclude that both Canada and Mexico would say we'd love to renew the deal, even though we have more meetings on the docket ahead of us to discuss things. The Americans will say not so fast, we're not ready, and we will continue on in the discussions. And so it'll be a flashpoint. It's an important one for all three parties for the first time in a long time to sit down together and see where we are. And there's issues on the table that still need to be addressed. And the federal government has the hard job of being able to resolve those issues. And we'll give them our support to do that. And where they go off course, the provinces and businesses will try and bring them back on course. And so there's more time ahead, but we've been waiting a long time. I mean, it's been over a year. We've been anxious, particularly in the province of Ontario, to see some relief on these 232 tariffs. And we have an anxious eye about potential additional tariffs in the 301 area that are coming up. So we shouldn't take anything for granted, and we should make sure that we come to the table and remind people that if we do get this deal done, it could be a springboard for a boom of economic investment, because there is so much pent-up investment on the sidelines right now, just waiting for certainty, that probably the best thing that could happen to the U.S. economy right now would be a deal. But we have to make sure that the president agrees.
Well, and this is what I was about to say, is we know that he has said many a thing just in recent weeks that do not line up with what you're saying. I'd rather have it terminated, he said of the deal. I view it as possibly expiring immediately. We do better as a country if we don't have an agreement. I mean, how do you explain that to your political masters when he says things like that? Do they ask you to make sense of it?
I think there was all four options in one sentence there at one point. And so, yes, I think we separate noise from signal and understand that this is a negotiation, and we're negotiating with a particularly different negotiator. So there are many aspects to this, but as we take on those different issues, for us in the provinces, it's really important for us to line up behind our federal government, because I think some of the things that will get us to a positive solution are things that are actually in the areas of responsibility of the provinces. So, of course, under our Constitution, we're responsible for our natural resources. And we hear talk of critical minerals being something. Electricity is extremely important right now in the United States for the growth of the economy. And the provinces are closer to their agriculture. They're closer to our auto sector, which is extremely important to us in Ontario. So we need to be there and help explain the upside. So as I say, it's very easy to always focus on the negatives, but if we can help Americans to also focus on the opportunity that is there to actually grow, then a deal could help us to get more investment, more jobs, people starting to hire again in key areas, and we can see less cost of living concern coming out of that too. So there's a real opportunity if we can springboard off of a deal. But the negotiating has to come first, and that's the tough job of the federal government.
And well, and the question of time too, right? Former Canadian Chief Trade Negotiator Steve Verhoeven told an online business audience today he doesn't expect Ottawa to reach a tariff deal with Washington before the U.S. midterms. He says he sees the discussions continuing beyond that, possibly into the next year. What do you make of that assessment?
Yeah, I mean, Steve has always been a great advocate of making sure that you hold your cards until you can play them all at the end. And he was successful in doing that in the last go round. The Americans were not so happy with that. It's always a difficult decision in terms of what things you do at what point. But I would say that we really should go with the consensus of business and Congress and everyone down here that it would be really smart to arrive at a deal by Labor Day before the midterms. And that gives us a chance for a lift of the American economy. It allows us to get investment flowing back onto things and starting to move things forward. And that's frankly in the self-interest of the United States as much as it is in Canada. That's not some official date. That's just trying to be optimistic that we can solve these problems and move forward. Mexico's worked really hard on their issues. Our team with Janet Charette and Mr. LeBlanc have done a fantastic job of engaging, even though they're not in an official round, but they've been down here in the embassy many times in the last little while. So we're going to support them and try and get to a deal.
To that point, I know Premier Ford is with the Western governors. He's making agreements with, believe it is Utah.
That's right.
Is he making that same pitch, Labor Day? A deadline focuses the mind?
Yeah, the core of what the premier has been saying, he's been here in Texas, he's been here at the Southeast governors, he's been today with the Western governors, he's doing MOUs with any number of different states. But the core of it is this notion of Fortress North America, and that is together we are much stronger. And so what the premier is talking about and focusing on is the lift, the upside of reaching a deal. And we in the province are a part of that, as I mentioned. Yep. It's us that controls the critical minerals. It's the nuclear technology. All those types of things that come out of the provinces can really make a difference in growing the American economy. And we see nothing but consensus on that from governors and particularly from American businesses who are paying these tariffs. They would really like to get past that.
David Paterson, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask you about the Gordie Howe Bridge. I think they docked my pay. Weeks now have gone by since this supposed ribbon cutting. It's still just sitting there. Viewers will know Canada paid for the construction. Any updates, any signs of progress on getting this bridge open?
Yeah, I know Ambassador Wiseman has really been in the midst of that and focusing on it. It's frustrating. It's really frustrating for business, to be able to remove one more barrier to trade and get that bridge open would be really great. But I think even today, hearing out of some of the business community in Windsor, it's more important to make sure that we get a deal And even if it means holding on a little bit longer and opening up, that's fine. These are all in the hands of the central federal team that are doing this. The Prime Minister, of course, Ambassador Wiseman, Janice Charette, and Minister LeBlanc. And so I think these things have started to all come together, the 232 tariffs, the renewal of issues in the USMC, and that might be a good thing because there is so much upside if we can get some of these things resolved, including even further expansion of trade and more jobs in the United States if you'll just open the bridge. So that's in the hands of the federal government. And again, we need them to now bring the ship to port.
Bridges opening, ships coming to port. Appreciate all of it.
Metaphors all over the place, but let's get it done.
We'll take it. David Paterson, thank you very much for this conversation. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Catherine.